All right, what's going on, everyone? We're going to be talking about handstand walking. We see more and more people in CrossFit doing that. Abe just keeps moving the camera, so I'm twisting. We see more and more people practicing on a more regular basis because it popped up in the Open last year. I think that workout's going to get repeated this year. So by the time this video comes out, week 1 will probably be announced for the Open, maybe week 2. But we're going to start talking about the beginner steps for handstand walking, or maybe you skip some of those steps and now you can't get your handstand walking to progress further. You load up your lower back a lot. You can only go so far with it. So first thing first, handstand walking. If any of you have children, how often did your children practice walking before they finally got it? The answer is every single day. Question number 2, did they fall a lot when they practiced? Yes. And number 3 is, did they need to work on balance before they walked? Yeah, before they went walking, yes. So we see a lot of people skip the balance part and go straight to walking, and that's where we see the big giant scorpion, fast hands, and then fall, and people are trying to get 5-foot increments because that's what pops up in the Open. So we want to make sure that we know how to balance first. So if I just balance on one foot, it's a lot easier to balance with my arms out, right? I can move around a little bit easier. That's why you see kids when they first start to walk, they're kind of like this with their arms out all wide, because it allows you to balance, create a bigger base, easier to adjust, right? With my hands close, the margin for error gets smaller because I have no way to counterbalance it. So we're going to do the same thing with balancing on your hands, because if we learn how to balance on your hands and how to adjust your weight to keep balance, it gets easier to walk, because walking is just changing of supports, changing of balance. It's really like controlled falling. So what we usually see people do, by the way, this is Nast, in case you haven't met her. Nast is going to kick up really close to the wall, which most people do, almost like she's about to do a handstand push-up, but she's going to try and balance off the wall. So we see this a lot. She's going to kick up, and then people move both of their feet off the wall, and they come right down, because there's not a lot of wiggle room to kind of figure out where the weight is in your hands, maybe bend the elbows a little bit to balance, come back. There's not a lot of opportunity. The margin for error is very small. So instead, we recently had Dr. Wes Hendricks come in with his Body Strong seminar. So he taught us kicking up further away and going into a partial split to create that balance. So Nasa's going to kick up, one foot's on the wall, and then she's going to slowly bring her feet together to try and balance. If she's falling, she can bring her feet to the wall again. She can go back into that split, so move that leg out even more. And she kind of finds her balance point and relax. Now, depending on your awareness and your flexibility, you can go into a really big split and slowly bring them in, go back to a split to find your balance, and then we can work on this. Now, how often you work on that, that's up to you, but we'd usually recommend at least 3 times a week. Once you get better at balancing against the wall, you can now take that out into free space and try and kick up into that split and bring it back together. Now, Nas is actually really good at handstand walking. I am going to ask her to try and kick up into a split. She usually has a hard time because she's just walking normally. She's not used to doing a split. So can you try it in free space? Even if you mess up, it's cool. So try and stay still. Just try and stay in one spot. Do your natural thing, right? She's going to try and stay. Let's see if she can split it all. And relax, come down. So Nas is still working on that ability to hold the split in midair, because what we'd like to see is not just a leg forward, but that other leg come back. Right? So she was pretty straight up and down. That one leg came forward. She was arched through her back a little bit. We want to try and see the other foot come back, and that will be your balance and tipping point. So let's start by figuring out that balance away from the wall a little bit, and then we can start taking the free space. And then you can start going where Nas was, where she was pretty much straight up. You try to stay in one place. You'd be amazed how just little movements will help you balance-wise. All right? So thank you, Nas. We'll talk to you guys soon.